Hey Dallas, just finally taking a chance to review the data that we got from Harris Hill on that rainy day that we did in your BRZ last week. Um, awesome day. I hope you had a lot of fun. I definitely did. Always enjoy running in the rain, and I think most people after running in the rain with me enjoy it as well. Yeah. That said, just want to dive in and take a look at what you got and what we saw. So the big thing is here is we were obviously focused on technique and practicing car control, and as a result, the lap times here are kind of inconsequential. It wasn't we weren't really going for the fastest lap. We were more trying to play with the car and see what it did at the limit when traction broke loose. So I really am just going to kind of focus on some of the techniques that we're doing here. Specifically, the main thing that we can focus on is with throttle control, which is our TPS sensor here, and just kind of taking a look at how you're applying the throttle and how we might be able to change it to make things a little bit smoother. I think we've kind of been through that a few times. We just really wanted to focus on making that throttle application smoother. One thing I want to call out, right, is because I'm seeing it in the data here, definitely want to start working on doing some heel toe downshifting with you. It's funny, but I can literally see in the trace right here of the RPMs when we're changing gears, the difference between you and I. So we can see coming into turn 10, you can see that red line, that's my blip to ease the transition and to ease the shock to the drivetrain. Obviously, this is where I'm using the heel toe, and for you, we can see it kind of drop. We can see those RPMs drop and then come back up as you're releasing that clutch. So definitely, we can if you want me to send you some videos or have any questions about how to learn that technique, let me know. I'll happily get some stuff over to you. But I think that's a great thing, a great tool to add to our toolbox is adding in that heel toe downshift. So I want to call that out. Again, we're kind of going to keep this brief because we aren't really focusing too much on lap times. Just want to call out some techniques here and what was happening. In case you couldn't see it or didn't realize it, I've got you at the 2 minute lap time with the green. The 157 is the demo that I did in red. So we can take a look at some differences there. Just kind of want to take a look at some of the differences in technique that I had. So specifically going into the slower corners where we were seeing a lot of drifting and a lot of slide in there, right? So if you go in, I'll zoom in a little bit on the exit for turn 7. That's that hard left-hander where we were having a lot of issues with getting slip and getting grip. So we had a couple spins there. Take a look at the difference between our throttle applications here. I think this is something to really keep in mind. I think we still need to, your handwork has gotten way better. I think we need to work a little bit on that footwork now. We got to be smooth on those feet, specifically on that gas pedal. You can see here, I'm being really cautious as I come around that apex with that red line. You see me start ramping the throttle up, right? It's coming up, coming up, coming up. And then I go up and it's full throttle and I make a little mistake here. I suspect I wanted to get a little bit more grip out of the front end on exit. And so you see me release the throttle here. But for you, what we're seeing is a more jagged spike. So we pop up to full throttle here, and then we pop back down. So I want to try to focus on having a smooth ramp up and really thinking about dialing that throttle pedal in. What we might be able to work on, or what we might want to think about, is thinking about it as like in a numeric component, right? So think about like applying that throttle from 1 to 5, right? It's not incredibly granulated, but it gives you a concept of where that throttle is, right? So 1 is like we got 20% throttle dialed in, 2 would be 40%, and so on up to 5, where we've got it pinned to the floor. And I want you to really think about when you're driving, and do this even on the street. think about where your foot is relative to that throttle, because that's going to help you bringing it back to the track. It's going to be more cognizant of how much throttle you're applying and how rapidly you're applying it. Here, coming through turn 6, right? It was pretty damn wet out there. So you can see me start to ease that throttle on, and we see you kind of backed out of it here. I'm on the throttle here as I come through that apex because I'm trying to keep some load on those back tires and keep it planted a little bit. So you just see my throttle movements. It's not significant, right? But it might be a little bit more granular than you. Like maybe I'm moving the throttle maybe half as much as you are in the same space here. And then we see me ramp it up, and then some throttle application here. That back off may have been me countering some slide there, but I'm not really sure. But with you, I see you ramp up to full throttle here, and that's solid, man. You're on that throttle, and then you start to ramp down as we set up for that break point. Here, I am kind of curious. I was out there playing a little bit, so I'm not sure why my ramp down on the throttle is so much slower than yours. I think I was being kind of ginger out there, or I was being pretty gingerly on that throttle, or being really smooth on the throttle, and tentative, to be honest with you. Coming through turn 5, this is an area where we had a couple spins coming up that hill. Take a look at this spike in the throttle from you, right? Like, this is a really sharp spike here. I don't know if you were trying to force rotation here. It's quite possible, but if you're a little bit smoother on that, you can get that the rotation is going to be a little bit more of what you expect. It's going to be a little bit, you're going to be able to cope with that rotation a little bit better. I want you to bear in mind, a big component of this is if you are trying to get slide out of the car, get those eyes up, get them looking further ahead, and you're going to be able to anticipate and handle that slide better. Again, if you're going to the throttle like this too, you got to have quick hands. So in reviewing the videos that we had, one of the things that I noticed frequently with you was that your hands were, I don't think you were moving fast enough with the hands and anticipating that slide and counter steering as much as you needed to. That counter steer is going to help you save the spin and keep that car headed in the right direction. Specifically, I think that off that we had, or not the off, but the spin that we had in turn 2, where it was so close to being perfect. I think if you had had a little bit more counter steer into the car and continued to stay on that throttle, we could have pulled off that slide, which was almost perfect. It was you were so close to having just a beautiful slide coming through the turn 2 there. So just bear in mind, right? We want those smoother throttle inputs. It's going to have a significant impact on how that car behaves when you're at the limit like that. I'll just call out like another spot. Well, here it's a straightaway. And again, I'm kind of soft pedaling it here. I don't think I was trying to go too fast. I was just kind of, I was honestly, conditions were loose. It's your car. I didn't want to be too crazy with what we were doing. So no issues with the throttle application here. I am curious to see what's going on towards the end here as we're coming through likely turn 3. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and take a look at what's happening here. So coming through here, honestly, it's looking pretty good. No major issues here that I can see. I see you starting to apply that throttle, carrying it down, holding it on. The one thing I might criticize you for a little bit is coming out of the throttle, but you see I'm doing the same thing. So that could have been just been something that accounted for. You may have been accounting for conditions there, to be honest with you. So it was a slick day, and I totally get that. What I do want to call out though is take a look at this, right? This application of the throttle, that's what we want to see from you, man. Nice and smooth early, being a little bit tentative. As soon as you start to recognize that there's traction, you start ramping that throttle up. That's what we really want to see versus anything spiky. We want to see some patience here, and then a nice ramp up on that throttle and watch that sucker put that power down and let it rip. So kind of an abbreviated thing, kind of an abbreviated review of the data on this. Again, bear in mind, like, honestly, man, that was just a day for fun. And I think you felt it as well. We were really learning car control out there, learning what happens at the limit. Again, my big suggestion for you is start playing around with figuring out how to heel toe downshift. Literally just let me know, ping me if you have any questions regarding how to handle that and how to approach it. I definitely recommend practicing it on the street, getting that down smoothly. I think you can do a pretty good job almost every time. I think about every time I come to a stoplight, I'll play around in my M3 and practice that heel toe downshift and just getting that car to sneak in the gears nice and smooth. So yeah, let me know. Hope you had a great holiday. Hope you're looking forward to a good New Year's, and we'll catch up with you soon, man. Thanks.